Welcome back to the Essay Desk. I am glad you carved out this time today because what we build in the next few minutes will change how you open every essay you write from here on. This is episode 25, and today we are decoding a fresh aphorism about courage, about risk, and about the difference between staying safe and staying true to your purpose. This theme, action versus inaction, has surfaced in the essay paper in 2020, 2022, and 2024, and examiners keep returning to it because so few candidates handle it with any nuance. Let us get to work. Here is today's topic. A boat tied too long to the shore forgets it was built for the sea. This is a Section A topic, abstract and reflective in the way this year's papers have leaned, and it belongs to the family of courage, risk, and action versus inaction, a theme that appeared in 2020, 2022, and 2024 and currently runs hot. Notice there is no question mark and no headline, just an image you must decode. Let us decode this together. The boat is any person, any institution, or even a nation built with a certain capacity and a certain purpose. The shore is comfort, certainty, the familiar mooring that feels safe. The sea is the very reason the boat exists, its purpose, its risk, its growth. The tension is this, that safety preserves the boat but defeats it. Because a boat that never sails is not really a boat anymore. It is just wood decaying at a dock. So fix your thesis early. My reading is this, that courage is not recklessness. It is remembering what you were built for and choosing motion over a comfortable decay. Hold that thesis for all 1,200 words. Do not let it drift. Once your thesis is fixed, move through the dimensions in an order that builds momentum. Start with the psychological, because every reader recognizes the comfort zone and the fear of an unfamiliar current. Then widen to the philosophical, the old argument that a life, like a boat, is defined by what it does and not by what it merely possesses. Bring in history next, a nation forced to leave its own harbor. Then move to the technological and the enterprising, where risk becomes visible in steel and fire. Only then introduce the ethical distinction, because courage without discernment is just recklessness, and the examiner is watching for that maturity. Close the body with the social and the political, because this is where the individual boat becomes the republic's fleet, and inaction becomes a collective habit worth interrogating. Now anchor the argument. Do not let it float on abstraction alone. Nelson Mandela wrote that he learned courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And you can use that line to define courage before you illustrate it. For contemporary weight, reach for Skyroot Aerospace, a private Indian company that launched Vikram 1 this July, becoming the first Indian private firm to reach orbit and making India only the third nation in the world with that capability. Do not just drop that fact, interpret it. That rocket was a bet a young company placed on itself, a boat that chose the sea before every risk had been eliminated. For historical depth, recall how in 1991, India's foreign reserves had fallen to barely 2 to 3 weeks of import cover, and the nation was forced to pledge its gold and finally leave the safe harbor of a closed economy. Each anchor should answer a question, the last one raised. That is what weaves them into one argument instead of a list. Here is the move that actually lifts a script into the top band. Never open this topic with a definition of courage. That is the fastest way to sound like everyone else in the hall. Open instead with a scene, perhaps a fishing boat at a quiet harbor, its hull, built for monsoon swells, now rotting gently at its rope. And let that image narrow naturally into your theme and then your thesis. At the other end, do not summarize what you already said. Resolve the tension instead. Return to the boat in your final lines, but let it now be untied, facing open water, and use that image to state your forward looking vision of a citizen or a nation that has finally remembered what it was built for. That circular callback is what makes an examiner remember your script among 100 others. Let me give you one line you can adapt, not copy. You might open with something like this. At the edge of every harbor sits a boat someone once dreamed would cross an ocean, and most of them never do. And you might close with something like this. The tide does not wait for permission, and neither, in the end, should we. Notice both lines return to the same image, that repetition is not laziness, it is architecture. Let us recap quickly. Decode the topic precisely before you write a single line. Fix one thesis and hold it for the full journey. Sequence your dimensions so each one answers a question the last one raised. Anchor every claim in something real, sourced, and interpreted. And finally, close with a vision, never a summary. Do this consistently, and this paper stops being a lottery and starts being a craft you control. That is today's masterclass. I know the preparation you are in the middle of is long, and some days the syllabus feels heavier than the sea we just spoke about. But every page you revise today is a rope you are quietly untying for the exam that matters. If you would like the complete brief, 2 full model essays with the examiner's margin commentary, drop your email in the comments or write to team@upscdesk.com. Until tomorrow, keep decoding, keep writing, and I will see you at the next essay.